There we go. Great. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this second to last workshop for the Pueblo del Rio greening project. We're hoping that some members of the community will join us in a bit. But in the meantime, everyone here is either from the Urban Studio, Northeast Trees, or a member of the youth team. So welcome, everyone. Glad you could join us. I think David's going to talk a little bit about the wellness station. We were maybe going to have Miss Martin, but that was a bit unclear. David, let me know if you want to or not. We're going to show the collages that our youth team members made as part of our bit of a homework assignments as a way to just think about how it is that things to be designed. We asked them what they would like to see at the wellness station or one of the other green spaces within Pueblo del Rio. David prepared some very rough draft ideas about how things may be put together, how they may be composed. So there are some sketches, some diagrams, just kind of showing what's possible. And this is really just to get the ideas flowing and to get any feedback from community members or anybody else about what they would like to see, what they would not like to see, or how they would like to move things around. This is an opportunity to directly influence the final design of the site at the wellness station. Both David and Jamie Chen and other people will be working on that, and they're on this meeting on the Zoom. So this is a great time in order to provide any info or feedback. We will also go into the Pueblo del Rio survey that we're launching. It's bilingual and anonymous. David, I think, may talk about it, or I could talk about it. But just as, again, a way to collect information from community members about what they would like to see at the wellness station. We have some examples of what could be done, but also want to know kind of who's using it, how long they're using it, what they would like to see, and whether they use it or not, and why that is. And we'll go into detail later. And at the end, Joe Laskin from Northeast Trees will talk about how to stay involved with the greening projects, both the Pueblo del Rio greening project and the South Central Los Angeles greening project, the wider project in the neighborhood, how to remain involved in the future after these workshops, since these workshops end on Saturday and this part ends, but work will continue. So there are opportunities to remain involved in different ways, some that may not be known as of now. So I'm going to skip this slide. We've done this intro a number of times, but everyone here has been here before. Just a quick recap. Here you have David de la Cruz and Diego Renteria, myself, both from the Urban Studio. And we have 6 youth team members. We have 6 members of the youth team, 5 of whom are here with us today. They are Sandy Garcia, Leslie German, Uciel Marquez, Kelsey Ramos, Fernando Rivas Flores, and Tanaya Rush. They're all residents of Pueblo del Rio, actually. So they've been part of us with the community, with the youth workshops earlier in the summer, and then providing some assistance with these workshops right now. As a bit of a reminder, in case you don't recall, but the greening project will redesign the landscaping around the wellness station, which is at the corner of 54th and Long Beach. This is a Google Street View screenshot that I took. This is part of a larger tree planting project in the neighborhood by Northeast Trees. If you were at the workshop last week, Aaron Thomas discussed it in greater detail of what's going to happen in the neighborhood and in Pueblo del Rio. And at the end of the workshop, Joe will talk about how to remain involved with this project in the future after these workshops end. And this is our second to last workshop. We have one last workshop this Saturday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. It will have the same information as this workshop, but hopefully it will be different based on the feedback that we get from community members or other residents. The workshop 2 weeks ago was about water conservation and LADWP programs that can help residents conserve water and reduce their energy usage. And the first workshop was about energy conservation and what can be done in order to use less energy in many different ways, from homeowners to residents of public housing or low-income residents, and how it is that people can save money as well. David, do you want to talk a bit about the wellness station, or should we just go ahead? Hi, everyone. If you could please join the English audio channel. If you can hear me, great. Let me know right in the chat. I heard David just fine. So what you should do is go down at the bottom and select the globe icon that says interpretation, and then select the icon for English. Let me know if you cannot hear me or if you have any issues. If you had any issues with hearing David, let me know. Please write in the chat, and we'll see what's happening. Jamie.
Hello, my name is Jamie Chen, and I am a landscape architect working with Northeast Trees. I've been with Northeast Trees for about 2.5 years, and my part of this project is to pick and choose the plants and choose where they go around the wellness center once we get the project going after receiving feedback. And that is all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is George Balteria, and I have been working with Northeast Trees since 2012. And I started off as a volunteer. Now I'm being paid, which is nice. But my background, I have over 40 years of working in the government and park construction maintenance world. So I know how to build things. I can probably deal with any kind of consultant or engineering firm or landscape architect or any of the firms that you normally encounter in planning. I produce plans. I review plans and drawings to make sure their constructability is attainable. and writing grants and all the other fun things that come along with working and coordinating projects from kind of from the very beginnings all the way to the very end. So, and I love what I do and get to work with a lot of cool people and meet a lot of interesting folks like you. So thank you.
Great, thank you, George. We just had one person join us in the for this meeting. If you could please join the English language channel, I'm going to show the instructions. Find the icon for interpretation. Either it's a globe icon at the bottom of your screen, or if you're on an iPhone or iPad or Android phone, it might be hidden under the More button. So click on the More button, find the globe icon for language interpretation, and please select the appropriate language, whether you want English or Spanish. And if you have any questions, let me know. If everything's all right, just write in the chat or thumbs up or let us know that everything's worked out. We're gonna keep going. All right. All right. Thanks, George and Jamie. Thank you very much. Oh, there we go. All right. So as part of the youth team, as part of one of the past workshops, we asked them to create collages about what they would like to see at either the wellness station or somewhere else at Pueblo del Rio. This is just a way to get their ideas about how they would like to see the green space to look, and also as a way to get the ideas flowing and, try to, as we expose them to things like landscape architecture or design or civil engineering, this is one very easy way that people can start thinking in like a design way. So we're going to show you the collages that people created, just to get a sense of, what it is people, our youth team members said they would like to join. They are anonymous, by the way, so I do not know who created which one. So obviously, yes, please, I'm sorry. Great, thanks, Avi. All right, if anybody would like to share anything, please feel free to unmute yourself. Otherwise, we'll just go on to the next one. There's another, a different collage made by somebody else. So I think what's interesting is it shows people on bicycles or on the scooter. And so it shows somebody, walking a dog and of different ages. And also it looks like it's a playground marimba. I have never seen that. That's cool. So I guess like very interactive play, but also something or a place where people can walk or bike or be on the scooter. Yeah, so that's what I liked about this. I think especially the marimba. I've never seen that before. Yeah. Here, this person focused on a different site within Pueblo del Rio, not the wellness station, but there's this like green space, little park with some exercise equipment on the western side of Pueblo del Rio at the corner of 54th and Morgan. So this person there in the middle, the little green lawn, put in ideas about what to plant where. So, they decided to look up different plants like yarrow, California fuchsia, I believe, Engelmann oak, white sage, and kind of think about how they can be placed there at the site. So I personally am not too familiar with many of these plants, but based on the drawing, at least it's thinking about like what can be placed where, what colors, maybe, I don't know, smells at some of them. So I think this is a great idea.
Hey, Diego?
Yes, yes.
Can I share something?
Yes, please.
Well, I just wanted to say as a general comment, I really enjoyed looking at all these sketches. I thought they all had a really unique perspective, and each one of them has, I think, a lot of really, really good components that all can be, moved forward or discussed. And what I love about this one are actually the illustrations as well. I think the illustrations are really, really cool, and all the species are. I'm not an expert in this. I do a lot of our grant writing and administration, but I know enough because I've worked enough around people who do know a lot more about plants than I do, that these are really good plants. The sage is really aromatic. Oaks are just a wonderful species. Fuchsia and yarrow and penstemon will attract, lots of wildlife. So I think this is I love plants. So this one spoke to me, and I just love the illustration. So well done.
There is a question in the chat, which is pretty relevant. Uciel asked, how strong are the smell of some of the plants? And in a comment, I generally don't notice the smell of plants unless there's a lot of them in one area.
I can speak a little bit to this, and then maybe Jamie, you can kick in because Jamie knows a lot more about native plants than I. Of this bunch, I know that the sage, in my knowledge, I think the sage is the one that really has the strongest aroma. That one you can smell it if you're walking by like a huge stand of it. One or two plants, you might not understand. You might not get that same sense. But if you rub the leaves, it's a quite strong scent. I think it's very pleasant. It smells like California to me, just because that's what when you're hiking, you smell a lot of that. But I don't know, Jamie, do you want to add anything?
Well, Joe is right that these plants, sage is fragrant and the California fuchsia is also fragrant, but it's mostly like you have to walk by and touch it, and then you can smell your fingers and it smells very nice. They are not by themselves very strong smelling unless there's a great amount of them planted together with a breeze. Yes.
Great, thank you. All right. So a different member of our youth team created this like collage or kind of like a perspective about how they'd like to see the looks like a path with a playground in the background. But no, it's super cool with thinking about what sort of trees can be planted and like what shade can be used there for people to sit and relax and walk around, and also somebody on the bike and somebody pushing a little ice cream little cart. So thinking about how it can also be used to support local vendors or people who are part of the community. That's what I like about this one a lot. Yeah. Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, all of our youth team members live in Pueblo del Rio, and we asked them to create a collage either of the wellness station or some other space they're more familiar with or they visit more often. So I imagine that's the case here. This is something much closer to them or somewhere they've gone to for a long time in their lives. So. And here in this one, I like that there are notes here telling us kind of what they would like to see with water fountains, kind of what plants to add, or the permeable trail suggestion is great. We did talk about in the workshops, we did talk about the need for permeability, particularly for water. So I'm glad that they actually this was, well, no, right, we did talk about this. So I'm glad that they incorporated some of this info into their design, and also giving us some notes about the exercise equipment and the need for water fountains, especially for the summer. That's very helpful. So thank you for including that in there. And here we have this is the last collage from our youth team members. So here it is clear that they're focused more on like picnic table. So community, kind of how people can come together here in the green space. I think this is a photo of that same little park at 54th and Morgan based on the playground equipment. So yeah, I think this is good to know about how trees, for this person, their preference, it seems to be trees that hopefully will provide shade, but also will make it comfortable for people to get together, have picnics, enjoy the outdoors, outside their front door, and share food, break bread, a very basic human thing. So yeah, it's great. Thank you to this person for putting this together. Here now we have a plant board, or the next few slides are plant boards that just kind of talking about showing some of the plants that are being considered for the wellness station, Pueblo del Rio. Jamie put this, I think Jamie was primarily the person to put this together, and Jamie or anybody else, if you'd like to step in at any point, please feel free to share anything. Here you just have them kind of by I guess category, whether it's like a larger shrub, a showy flowering shrub, small flowering shrubs, or succulents. So different types of plants, like sage, different types of sage, white sage, which was in one of the collages, 2 types of aloe, either coro or aloe vera, savila, or a buckwheat or fuchsia and monkey flower. Thanks a lot, Davi. That's very true. Thank you for all that. So other different like categories of flowers, like showy flowers for borders, like lilac, verbena, coronation gold yarrow, lilac, penstemons, native wachera. These are different types of plants that could be used primarily for the edges, different colors. Some of them may have smells. I'm not too familiar with these plants, I'll be honest. Different color, or kind of maybe they may be at different seasons that they flower if they're not, year round. The thing that's also important thing to factor in gardens, how does that like plant cycle and how they bloom or kind of not die, but kind of senesce or shut down. Yeah, Jamie, if there's any point you want to speak up, please feel free to do so. I'm not an expert in this, and and you are. So yeah, here you have the coast live oak, which is one of the emblematic trees of, I would say, California. I would say it's up there with the redwood. It's what gave the city of Oakland its name. It used to have so many oaks, and it does well along the coast and also a little bit more inland. So I think that's great, provides a lot of shade. They're fantastic. Engelmann oaks as well. I'm sure there are many around you, or you've seen many of them around. But yeah, these are just two examples of some trees that may be planted as part of this project in order to provide shade and cool some of the buildings. As you can see here in one of these photos, the coast live oaks providing shade to the two-story building behind it. So that's a great bonus, as we talked about with heat and energy usage. And they're also very pretty, and it's nice to sit under them and get some sunlight filtered through the tree, the plants, and the leaves.
And I'm no expert either, but I think coast live oaks support some of the the most diverse wildlife. It's an amazing tree that just supports like thousands of species of wildlife. I don't have the exact quote, but it's
We definitely at Northeast Trees would hope that there is room, at least in the larger exercise space, for a oak. Maybe the wellness center within the fence boundary, there wouldn't be room, but I know that Aaron our arborist would look into it, and we would prefer to plant something that is a California native for the shade and the seasonal change value.
Great, thank you. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask, especially youth team members. If you'd like to know a bit more, feel free to write them in the chat or raise your hand. But not seeing anything, I'm gonna go ahead to the next slide, and I think Davi will talk a bit about these draft images, these draft sketches. All right, I'll move on to the next one then. Yes. Yes, please, especially youth team members, since you live there and you know this area, please share any information we may have missed, anything we get wrong, any feedback. Yeah, it'd be great to know what you think.
Oh, hey, Debbie, just one more thing. Also, depending, and Jamie can speak more on this, or George, but depending on the plant selection, like if you were to plant a sage, for instance, along the fence, it could get fairly high and fairly wide, and could also provide that kind of level, that screening that we're talking about, and some of the shade without tying itself to the fence. So I just want to say there's other ways to achieve, I think, that without a vine or something like that. So that's all.
Marie raised her hand.
Before we pass out, she's also the questions that Tanaya made. There is just a clarification. The grant that we have for this, the LADWP money, it's just for landscape. So even if we want it, we couldn't use it. That's an idea to try to get money to do the other things that are very good ideas.
And David, just one closing thought on this. It relates to what I'm gonna say later, but I couldn't wait. But I'm really, so I definitely you know, I think you guys made the point clear what this funding can pay for. And, you know, mostly grants are focused in their scope and they can only pay for certain things. But I'm really loving all of the ideas that I'm hearing. I like the basketball courts and the potted plants and all these different ideas, because I'll get into this later. That's going to be one of the key ways for you guys to stay involved, is because I encourage people to dream big and think big. I mean, this grant can only pay for a little thing, but we have had successes in other areas, other Hackla sites with residents bringing us ideas and us going and raising money for those ideas. So definitely want to restate that the grant is focused, but I definitely want to encourage all the ideas, because that's really important for just the continued development of this area. So just loving all the ideas.
Great, thanks a lot, Joe. All right, I'll move on then. We'll move on to talk about the survey. So as we've talked about in previous workshops, we will be launching an anonymous survey that's bilingual in both English and Spanish to collect community knowledge and community feedback about what residents would like to see at the wellness station and at a park at a different site within Pueblo del Rio. Yeah, we'd like to make sure that the design for these sites meets the needs of community residents. We want to know what is it people would like to see there, how often they visit those places, and if they don't visit, why is it that they do not visit, and ask a few other questions about the wellness station, the little green space around it, and other parts of Pueblo del Rio. And again, the survey will directly influence the design, sketches, and the final design. We're going to go through the questions with you now, just very quickly. And if anybody would like to respond, you could turn on your microphone and start talking, or you can write it in the chat. But we'll also include the link for you to fill it out later if you wish. One point, you do have to be over 18 to fill it out. And just like the workshops, if you're under 18, you need to have like an adult fill it out for you in order to be able to participate. So let me see. Shoot. Yes. Yes. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Do you want me to share it on my screen? Okay. All right, give me a moment. There we go. Can everybody see the screen? No, Zoom. Great. So you should be able to see the survey. I believe that we included links for them in the chat. I'll respond to the question. Uciel asked if we fill out both. If you would like to fill them out, please do. But we are going to ask you to please fill it out after the workshops. I can send a link out over email to the youth team. Right now, we're just going to go through them. You can open it and have it in a separate tab and get back to it later. We're just going to go through the questions just so you can get a sense of what we're asking. And we'll go ahead. Just so you know, I filled this out earlier as a test. So that's why you're going to see some answers. I didn't clear my history. But in the survey, shoot. Well, it doesn't let me go back. That's fun. Hold on, I'm going to restart this. My bad. Great, I just restarted the sharing. So The survey is in both English and Spanish, based on whatever answers people provide. In the first question, then they'll have to go into English and Spanish. And it's going to take you about 5 minutes to fill out. So let's see. I filled it out in English, so I'm just going to go through the English ones. So you know this stuff about who is the partners for this project. And just some info. Again, you need to be 18 or older to participate. And we ask you this question later. So if you're under 18, you do need a parent or legal guardian nearby or to help you fill it out. So we ask, for example, how often you visit the wellness station. We're interested in knowing, on average, how many times people go. And to select the option that best describes it, whether it's once a week, more than once a week, maybe once a month, or never or rarely. We just want to gauge how often people go there, just to know like exactly how many people or how people go and for how long they're there. And the next question we ask actually how long people spend at the wellness station when they go on average. Is it 15 minutes, 30, etc.? We have these categories. Just trying to get a sense of how often people are there. We also ask how often they use the outdoor spaces in the playground of the wellness station, since we do understand that some people may go to inside for the services that are provided, and that may be the only reason they go, but others may be going there to sit at the table outside or get some fresh air, and sometimes people do go and take children or go to the playground. So we want to get a sense of how often they go there and why they go there. We also are interested in knowing like what features or elements you'd like to see at the wellness station. Here in this question, you can select as many as you'd like. So whether it's irrigation elements like that rain barrel, some signs as well, whether we want trees or some other sort of shade, like a canopy or anything you're just interested in. If you want shade, plants for wildlife, if that's something you're interested in. We do have an option of like tree stumps for seating, I should say. And also waiting areas and benches for a group. I just want to point out that these aren't set in stone. Both the images are just examples to show you of what is possible. The final design may or may not include something that looks like this, or may not include them at all. We're just trying to collect information of what you would like, and then as the design gets refined and approved by local authorities, things may change. But just want to let you know that these are not set in stone. These images may change. And the next question, if we missed anything, please write in anything that we missed, anything that you would like to see there. If there's something that you'd really like, but we didn't mention it, please write about it. If there's something that you think we should really focus on, write it in here. Go write as much as you would like. You can also skip this question. This question is not required. But we really just want to get your knowledge, your information, and your feedback about what you would like to see here, and what would make this a place for you or your family to go, to feel safe, to feel comfortable, to get together. Use it as a gathering space. Are there any questions so far? Marie raised her hand.
I would like you also to ask the youth to try to convince other people to participate and fill out the surveys also. That will be great because if we have many people participate, the result will be also better for the community itself. So it will be great if they can convince classmates, neighbors, etc. So that's it.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, Marie. I will be emailing you the links to the surveys after the workshop, and I'll write a little description of the survey, both in English and in Spanish, for you to share with people that you know in the community. Also, just so you know, you don't have to log in to anything. So it's just, you click the link and it'll show up. This survey website also looks very good online. I mean, on your phone or a tablet. So don't think you have to be on the computer. You can do it on your phone. It looks pretty good. It looks pretty similar to this, actually. So it should be open to as many people to fill it out, I should say. But I'll be sending you that information after the workshop. But that's a great point, Marie. Thank you. Going back, yes, always feel free to, any feedback you have, please include it. And then after that, we ask you questions about your background. All of these questions, all of the following questions are not required. We just want to know if, you know, kind of like who's responding, like what their age group is, how many people live there with them, and kind of like where it is that they, how long they've lived there. Very basic questions. These are all optional, only if you would like to answer them, should you answer them. So again, do you live in Pueblo del Rio? I'm just gonna mark yes. And how long have you lived there? Please select. We provided some categories. I hope this catches all of them. I believe it should. I just want to get a sense of how long people have lived there. I'm gonna put 0 to 9. And somebody's, you know, their age, just to get a sense of how old the respondent is. This is all basic survey stuff. How many people live there in the house with you? I'm just gonna put 5. And if there's anybody in that house who's under 18, we do ask for their ages, but just select the categories that will qualify, that count for the children. So let's say, for example, you have like a 3-year-old and an 8-year-old and a 13-year-old. So you would select these 3 categories just to let us know you have children in these age groups. One thing to mention, the age groups may seem a bit random. Some groups are larger than others. This is based on the CDC group of like child development. So that's why they're there. They're like, oh, they're either like preteens, they're, you know, older children, they're toddlers, etc. That's why those categories vary a lot. And we do near the end ask people if that about LADWP offering water conservation items, like, you know, the shower heads, the aerators for the bathroom and kitchen faucets, and also if they want to learn more about some programs in order to save money. But we also ask them if they want to stay in touch about the next steps in the greening project. That includes like being working or volunteering with installing trees, helping taking care of plants or other tasks as they appear. And if, for example, somebody is interested in one of these 2, either receiving free shower heads or faucet aerators, or staying in touch about next steps in the project, and they hit OK, we do ask them to give us their information. That way, you know, David or myself, really it's gonna be David or Joe or somebody else in the future, can reach out to them and let them know, like, oh, you know, this is what we can do. Either you want free shower heads, let us know, we can talk and we can get them to you. Or if they said they want to help with either planting trees or helping take care of them or something else with the next steps of the greening project, this is a way that we can get a hold of them. So, you know, if you answer and you want to stay involved, please feel free to give us your name, your email or phone number, and what would be like the best time to get a hold of you. And then that way we can keep in touch with you. But again, this is all optional and only if you're interested. So don't feel like you're forced to give us any information. And youth team members, when you talk about the survey with other people, I really hope you stress that it's anonymous. I really understand the concern about like who is getting this information, what they're going to use this information for. This is a nonprofit. These are nonprofits that have received this government grant or these grants from utilities in order to do the work. But again, it's anonymous up to the point that the respondent, the person filling it out, chooses to give us their information. So, it's going to be completely anonymous unless the person, for example, myself, I choose to give the information. So please stress that, it's anonymous. We do not ask for your name unless you want to give it to us. We just ask very specific or very, very general information, your age, how long you've lived there, where do you, things like that. So, and I'm saying that also because I've had personal experience being out in public, trying to get people to fill out surveys for research projects. And that's one big concern, a very understandable concern. And I have that concern too. When you're filling out a survey, who's getting the info? Now, enough about that. Let's just write something here. There we go. And that's it. That's our survey. It should take about 5, at most 10 minutes to fill out. The questions are pretty easy. We don't ask for too much work on the person filling it out. And there's my information at the end of the survey if they'd like to learn more. Please, if you have any feedback or you would like to learn more, please raise your hand or turn off your microphone or let us know in the chat. But really, again, this is just a way to collect information from the public about what they would like to see and about how they use the space in order to get a better sense of how to design to meet those needs or to anticipate future needs, as mentioned in the chat earlier, or as things change in the in the community or in society. Who knows? All right. All right. So I gotta. All right. I got a direct message in the chat. My mistake. I'll be responding to that later. Sorry. David, is there anything you'd like to add, or anyone would like to add while I get this together? Great, thank you. Now, Joe Laskin from Northeast Trees will share a bit about the next steps in the project, what happens after these workshops end this week, and how it is that people can remain involved with the Pueblo del Rio and the South Central Los Angeles screening projects, and kind of what are some possibilities to remain involved. So Joe, the floor is yours. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and feel free to share yours.
Okay, thanks, Diego. Let me share my screen here. Can you guys see my screen? It's a presentation mode here. Okay, great. So yes, so thank you, Davi and Diego, for taking us up to this point. As Diego said, I'm going to talk for maybe 5, 10, maybe a little more minutes here, just to talk about how all of you and hopefully your friends and family and social networks can all stay involved in these 2 projects. and I know Aaron discussed this at the last workshop, but just want to be super clear that we've got two different projects. This DWP outreach project obviously is centered around the youth team and your involvement and the renovations to occur at the wellness station. I do want to say that's we're going to be constructing that this fall. The grant term ends in spring of next year, so the LADWP is a much quicker grant. The South Central LA Greening Project will include the community-driven design and build of the park you're seeing on the left-hand side of the screen. Approximately 100 trees planted in Pueblo del Rio, and about 700 trees planted within a mile of Pueblo del Rio to encourage, to provide shade, to provide cooling, and to help encourage, safe green walking connections to and from the community. And that project is going to take a little bit longer. Our grant term, we have that grant until the end of 2024. Now we might be done before that, but that's a much larger project that involves a lot of design and permits and coordination with the city and the state. So just wanted to be super clear about that again before I get into how you guys and the community at large can stay involved. So the first one we'll talk about is the DWP project. And first is really contact us. My role at Northeast Trees is I write all of our grants and I manage a lot of the fund raising and some of the project management. But all of us, myself, Jamie, Marie, and George, our line of communication is open. You guys, I'll be providing my email, is also a phone number if that's necessary for those who want to call. But we want to hear from you. These projects are always stronger when the community provides input and gets involved, and the long-term success is maximized under those conditions. So please do not be bashful. We'd like to think of ourselves as friendly. We're very friendly, and just contact us whenever and let us know. Right now the best way to do that is through this survey. So I'll say it again. Please, we want to encourage you guys to share the survey, and I definitely appreciate Diego's point. Please stress that it is anonymous, because that's something that we were pretty intentional about. And so please fill out the survey and get the word out. This is everybody's opportunity to leave their mark and have their input. And so really we want to have the community take advantage of that. So the second would be to volunteer to take part in the wellness station renovations. I'm hoping that the world around us with COVID-19 does not get much worse, but that's so I can't guarantee that there'll be volunteer opportunities. But the hope is that when we do the planting at the wellness station, is that some members of the community, distance or with masks, if we feel that's necessary, can actually get their hands dirty and plant a tree or a plant, most likely a plant at the wellness station. It's really amazing when you plant something and you get your hands dirty. It's like it becomes yours, and you want to nurture it and make sure it's getting watered. And so we really want to encourage that hands-on approach. And so, but I'll get into if this opportunity doesn't work, I'll get into there will be other volunteer opportunities for sure. The third one is volunteer as what I call a block captain for the wellness station. We'll be working with the Housing Authority and Ms. Martin and ourselves to ensure long-term maintenance. But often, that's not enough, and you need the community to walk around. So if you guys all the youth team lives in the community, lives in Pueblo del Rio. So when you're walking around, maybe take that extra loop and go around the wellness station and look at the trees, look at the plants. Do they look like they're dry? Do they need, and if you don't know, contact us. Again, call us. Our line of communication is open. We want to make sure that the park is thriving and the community is as well. And so please, be eyes and ears on the ground. Another opportunity would be to develop a green team. We have the youth team here. After this, they could become their own, the Pueblo del Rio green team. A lot of the parks we work at have dedicated volunteer groups who either organize volunteer events or advocate for new things in the park. So that's just a way to kind of take things into your own hands, and there's you know, if any of the youth team members here are interested in doing that, we can connect you with other volunteers who have created successful green teams. It's definitely something that works. And also, you know, ask Miss Martin how you can help. She is, you know, she will be critical to the success of this as well. And so, you know, let her know that you're interested and you want to help, and you know, her or us can help you find a productive way to get involved. And then the last bit is just to tell your on the DWP project, is to tell your friends and family why this project is important, because that helps spread the message, you know, about both about energy and water conservation. You know, trees, we've talked a lot about shade, but it's amazing the impacts that they can have on mental and physical health. It's truly, I think Jamie had a stat sometime. Jamie, you can jump in if you want, but it's like, I think you said like sitting under a tree for 10 minutes, if you had ADHD, was the equivalent of taking like 1 dose of Ritalin or something, the calming effects that a tree can bring, the mental and physical benefits. So, you know, and if you're curious, again, contact us. We have all that information, and it's important that you spread the message about that, because it'll help create more advocates for, so that more of these type of community greening projects can happen. And of course, you know, addressing climate change, you know, we live in a world it's getting hotter and hotter every year. And so the more trees we can plant in communities like Pueblo del Rio that suffer from extreme heat, we really need to be doing that. So that's kind of, that's my summary on how to stay involved. And again, please, if there was something on here that you had a question about, I'll have an opportunity at the end for questions, but contact us. And if there's a way that you think that you can get involved that's not on here, we'd love to hear it, and we'd love to help you get involved. So on the South Central project, and you can see the picture here is actually of our Watts Rising crew. So we're working in Watts at a couple different housing authority sites, and we just finished planting 1,000 trees in Watts. So we're very proud about that project. So I just wanted to share that cool picture. Doesn't really relate to this project, but just a nice tidbit there. So again, on the South Central project, this is a much larger grant that is, you know, it's going to be a multiple year effort. And the primary goal is to restore the 54th and Morgan site. But you know, this survey is going to help us get the process started of you know, getting the community's input. So anyway, the best ways I think to get involved on this one are request a tree via city plans. Now, for you guys, you know, this was intended to be also for members of the public, but you guys all live in Pueblo del Rio. So unfortunately, you know, we can't request a tree for your yard, but you can sign up family and friends in the community. If you know people in the community, and they can even be renters. I just think it might not work at a Hackla property, but contact us, and I will give, I think you met him, Jose Gama Vargas, who's our urban forestry specialist. Amazing wealth of knowledge when it comes to trees. If you guys had questions about either signing a family or a friend or someone else that you know in the community up, that's important, because, you know, we all think of property and street lines, but trees don't follow property lines. They offer benefits that are wide reaching. And so the more trees we can plant in the surrounding community, that will help make Pueblo del Rio cooler and more livable. Also contact us about the trees in Pueblo del Rio. So I'll show you a slide. The next slide I'm going to show you is some of the common trees we plant. So as I mentioned, we're going to be doing 700 trees within the community and 100 trees in Pueblo. And also, I haven't mentioned hundreds and hundreds of plants. We're going to do like the rain garden that we're doing at the wellness station. We'll be doing probably multiple of those rain gardens at the 54th and Morgan site. So there'll be lots of plants. But in terms of the trees, contact us about if you know of a place in between the units where you think that would be a good place for a tree. Contact Jose or Gama as he goes by, And I'll show you, I'll give you his contact information and show you some of the trees on the next slide, but we want to hear from you about what trees you'd like to see in the community and where you'd like to see them. Also volunteer, kind of similar to the last project, as a block captain. If you have a particular area in the community that you walk maybe to a bus stop or a grocery store, check in with us, see if we're going to be planting trees there. And if we plant trees there, help be eyes and ears on the ground. And if that tree, you know, when we do the street trees, we work with the city of LA to provide establishment, but the city is really big and the city is often underfunded. So so please let us know, like, please, if you don't see, if you think that trees aren't being watered, or even if you want to know how to tell if a tree is being watered or not, contact us so that we can give you that information and you can help us make sure that the trees we plant are going to survive and thrive. Because native plants, you know, it takes usually between 2 and 3 or 4 years for them to get established. But after that, you know, they are native to this environment. So after that, you know, it's really that establishment first 2 to 3, 4 years is really critical. So if any help that you guys can provide on that front would be wonderful, and just also a wonderful way to stay engaged and involved. Second to last point is what I kind of mentioned earlier and I think this is maybe one of the most important points. You know, obviously, well, not obviously, but our South Central LA Greening Project has a limited scope. So it's being funded by the Natural Resource Agency, and it's intended for carbon sequestration. So really, trees are the thing that they want to see the most of, trees and plants. Unfortunately, they won't fund pools, they won't fund ping pong tables or barbecues. They're very limited. It has to be a greening element. But like I said, be bold and think big. And I want to bring up two examples of how this has happened in other areas, and actually 2 other Hackless sites. So we're working at Ramona Gardens right now on a big park project. Ramona Gardens is a Hackless site in Boyle Heights, and we've been working with that community for 15 years, many years, but most recently for a couple of years on this project. And we've done multiple surveys and charrettes and workshops, and we kept hearing from the community that they wanted a new playground and they wanted new lighting, because the lighting in the park was like these huge floodlights that if you looked up into, they would like temporarily blind you. So we heard that. We said, you know what, we can't fund this with this grant. And just a month or 2 ago, we landed a grant to build the playground. So these things, there are real examples of us doing this, you know. And so we, like David said, and like Diego also emphasized, please be bold, think big, send us all of your ideas. Understand that we can't fund all of them or many of them in this grant, but we want to hear those ideas. And the other one was we're working in Gonzac Village, Imperial Courts, and Nickerson Gardens in Watts. We heard from the community that they really wanted fruit trees. We got a grant to provide 500 fruit trees for that community. So there are real examples of the community bringing big and bold ideas to us, and our job is to hear your idea, to internalize it, and go find the money. And that's actually my job. I'm a grant writer, so I'm going to give you guys my contact information. If you have grant ideas, love to hear it. And then also the last point is what I mentioned last time. Stay in touch with us. If you want to be on our volunteer list, please send me your email, because when we do the 54th and Morgan site and potentially some of the street trees, there will be, depending on where we are with COVID, volunteer opportunities. So, and also there are other volunteer opportunities. Like we have a nursery. It's in East LA, so it's not necessarily close to Pueblo del Rio, but we could organize a field trip. You know, if you guys have interest in volunteering or even working for Northeast Trees, you know, that this is our mission is to hire, train, and educate local youth. And so our entire crews are made up of local youth And so if you know of anyone, or if you would like to pursue a career on our crew, please contact us, because this is what we do. This is our mission. And, we're here to help local youth who want to get involved. And if we can pay them, we pay them. So please contact us. And here on the last slide, oh, so sorry, so these are the trees I was talking about. So this is like I've got an English and Spanish version tree catalog for the summer. So you can see there's like small trees, flowering trees, small to medium, large trees. Some of these are faster growing than others, like coast live oak, which we all love, is actually a very slow growing tree. It's not a bad thing, but it does grow slowly. So there's all sorts of other considerations to be made. But I'm not an expert in this. So really, and by the way, this is one of my favorite pictures of one of our volunteer events at Ascot Hills Park. So please, for any tree related inquiries, contact Jose Gama Vargas. He goes by Gama. You can reach him at gama@northeasttrees.org. He speaks Spanish and English, and he is just amazing. He's an amazing wealth of knowledge for trees, and he will help you on whatever tree question or need you have. And then for design input or volunteer opportunities, sorry, I should have included you in here, Jamie, but it's our emails are pretty easy. So it's just Marie at Northeast Trees, Joe at Northeast Trees, or you could just do Jamie at northeasttrees.org. Marie is bilingual. She speaks Spanish and English. Unfortunately, I just speak English, and I think that's the same for Jamie. But again, please contact us. We want to hear from you. These projects are always stronger with input and engagement from the community, and we want to help you guys understand how to make that happen. So I think that's it. And oh, that has some animation that's really funky. I should have cleared that up. But anyway, thank you guys all. And if you have any questions, let me know, and you either via chat or unmute yourself, or again, you can just email me, and I'll stop sharing now, Diego.
Thanks a lot, Joe.
Yeah.
I hope people choose to keep in touch and hope to remain involved with this project as it goes on. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to unmute yourself or raise your hand or write it in the chat. We'll wait a few beats. We've pretty much at the end of the workshop. So feel free to ask any questions you have about this or anything else. Well, in the meantime, I just want to, David, if there's anything else you'd like to say, or anybody else, Jamie, George, Marie, anyone, feel free to add. We do have Luciel asked if people have thoughts on aquaponics. His high school had one. I'm not familiar with them.
I'm not familiar with Lucille, but I'll definitely look into that. I'm just not familiar. Sorry. Yeah, and just one thing, I think I love that idea. I definitely want to look into that a little more, Lucille. But back to I guess, George, you coined the word of the day, constructability. That you know, I just one consideration that we always have to think about is the maintenance, and you brought it up, Debbie, and like, you know, we've worked with Hackla for 15 years on trying to train them on how to maintain native landscapes, and so it's definitely something that, you know, you just have to keep in the maintenance in mind, but you know, and if they don't have the education, you have to help educate them, right? And that's what we're trying to do with the tree and the native plant maintenance. But I love the idea, thinking big, so it's great.
Great. Thank you, Joe and Debbie, for all the information. We don't have much more. That's about the end of our workshop. So thank you everyone for joining us. We do have our final workshop on Saturday at our normal time, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. If you could please, you know, share the word with family, friends, neighbors about attending the workshop, it'd be great. I'll also, like I said, I'll email you a link to this public survey for the redesign so that you can share it with friends, neighbors, people you know, family, etc. And I'll include a little short thing in English and Spanish so you can, you know, spread the word around. But that's it for us. We don't have much more for this workshop. Please just share the word about surveys. And Joe, thank you. And Joe, Jamie, George, Marie, thank you for joining us, you know, taking time on your Tuesday evening to join us and, you know, talk with us about the project. So again, everybody, thank you very much. We'll see you on Saturday. If you have any questions, please email David or me or anyone else, and we'll get back to you soon. Otherwise, I'll see you on Tuesday. I'm going to stop recording now. Yes,
I would like just to remind everybody to invite for the next workshop, invite family members, neighbors, please, as many people as possible. This is an important information. And thank you everybody for coming.
Thank you, Marie. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Everybody,
Bye.
take
Bye,
care.
Diego.
Bye.